Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here today, physically or virtually. It is a difficult time for all of us. May our hearts go out to those who suffer from the current pandemic and their families. My name is Cheng, and I am currently an MD PhD student at the Weill Cornell, Rockefeller University, and Sloan Kettering Tri-Institutional Program. I'm a physician in training, a scientist, an inventor, a proud American business owner in manufacturing, and a father. I was the recipient of the P.D. Soros Fellowship of New Americans and the Crane's New York Business 40 Under 40. It is my honor here today to be invited as a student representative of the program. First, I would like to congratulate everyone on the 20th year anniversary of the CCIEE 1+2+1 China-US Student Exchange Program. This is one of the biggest programs bringing the wonderful resources of education from both countries together. Countless of people whose hard work has gone into the program and to make it possible for us students to undertake the most important journey of our lives. A journey that was as exciting as treacherous. For me, it was no exception. I grew up in a city called Zhengzhou and attended Henan University. I learned about the opportunity of participating in the CCIEE 1+2+1 program in the middle of my freshman year. Now, I've never been abroad in my whole life at that point, and my parents were making working class wages. I never thought that it would ever be possible for me to afford studying abroad. However, drawn by curiosity, I went for the information session. There, I learned the brilliant design of the program. The system in place transfers course credit from university in China and US bilaterally, and students were only required to be in the US for 2 years to complete the degree from both universities in China and in the US. This combined with the relatively low tuition of the state colleges in the US largely reduced the cost for students. My parents, who always supported me growing up, worked hard to borrow enough money from my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, and my godparents, and next thing you know, I was on a flight to this beautiful redwood surrounding campus of Humboldt State University in the northern coast of California. I still remember the trip here. It took 12 of us 4 different flights, over 30 hours, finally got to Arcata. And from there, we had to figure out every aspect of our lives, from grocery shopping to filling out banking forms with a completely different language. All the lives we had up to that point were our parents taking care of most of the stuff for us. That completely shattered in front of us. Let alone, most of us had to take higher course load and work part-times to save money. But we stuck together, all the CCIEE students, along with the help of the international office and other international students, we made it through. It was probably the most difficult time for all of us, but we learned how to survive, how to adapt, how to be independent, because we had nobody to depend on except ourselves. We learned how to negotiate, how to voice our own concerns, and how to work people as a team, because all we had was each other. We also learned how to be persistent, tenacious, and determined to push through so many sleepless nights. We learned how to be diligent, to be adventurous while being cautious, because we cannot afford to fail, nor can we stay at the same place. These experiences shaped who we are and boosted our abilities to adapt to any situations that we might have encountered in the future. We knew that once we can make it here, we can make it anywhere. When we showed up, it was as big of a culture shock to us as local communities. I know this would probably not happen in New York City, but when we walked on the farmers market of the small college town Arcata and Eureka, we always had intrigued people asking us where we were from and what our stories were. We later learned that there has been very little Asian culture in the Humboldt Bay area since the Chinese expulsion movement in 1885, when a city councilman was shot during a gunfight in the old Chinatown. We felt that it was our duty as international students to restore the history and culture in the area. So along with other local Asian culture communities, we hosted annual Lunar New Year celebrations and fairs that attracted thousands of attendees from the local communities. We even brought lion dancers from San Francisco and was on local radio station teaching students about culture and history, and local TV station Keep 13 teaching students how to write calligraphy. It was wonderful. We knew that we had a lot to learn, but for the first time, we had something to offer. And we knew it was not just us in HSU. We had many friends all across America in the CCIE programs in other participating colleges, such as Troy University and Salem State. And we know they're all doing great works out there too. And as times go on, many of us has graduated and undertaken leadership in science, in medicine, business, finance, in both countries. We were students, not politicians. We served as a bridge of understanding to bring the two countries working together in day-to-day operations. This is particularly important in the current world that's full of uncertainties. When we barely got more familiar with our daily lives, we immediately participated in our busy coursework. The education I received in China was rigorous and precise. It builds a solid foundation of knowledge. But the education I received in the US, on the other hand, encourages exploration and independence. I was lucky that Humboldt State University had lots of great mentors and fundings in scientific research. I had the opportunity to participate in the Stem Cell Initiative program brought by the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine. I was trained to how to work with stem cells, and it was a very amazing coursework at Humboldt State. For example, we were able to grow stem cells in a petri dish into a beating heart cells that contracts right in front of your eyes under the microscope. After that, I got the opportunity to go to Stanford University on a 2-year funded fellowship. There I learned how to manipulate cell signalings to activate stem cells and transplant them into various animal surgery models, turning old animal bone marrows back to young by adding stem cell factors. My research work at both Humboldt State University and Stanford University resulted in 11 peer-reviewed publications and landed me a spot in the MD-PhD program in New York City, where I attended my medical school at Cornell University and PhD in neuroscience at Rockefeller University. Nowadays, I study how the neural system encode the information of memory. We hope to eventually decode how our entire brain works and gain insights to how to treat and cure disease that originated in the brain. During my research work, I was constantly faced with difficulty of microscopy imaging. For example, we were able to see through the eyepiece of the microscope that the heart cells were pulsating in the dish, but we had no way of capturing that for further analysis and publications. I had an idea of an invention to convert the light path of the microscope into the camera of the iPhone. I was able to make a prototype based on the knowledge that I learned from the internet. Later in New York, I invested all my scholarships, scholarship monies that I've saved up over the years, hired some engineers and designers, and formed a company called LabCam. I worked through medical school with lots of sleepless nights and finally got the product rolling off the production line right here in America, in the heart of Michigan, outside of Detroit. And today we have more than 3,000 universities, clinics, companies using my products. I still own the company 100%. So in 2018, Crain's New York Magazine named me 40 under 40 for business. I enjoy working on science, studying medicine, and doing business. As an MD-PhD student, we are on track to become professionals who can take scientific discoveries from a research lab and develop that into a drug or device that can actually impact people's day-to-day life. So inevitably, business and innovation are a great catalyst for this process. That's why I was drawn to business. And moving forward, I'd like to use all my skills in these areas to eventually have my own biotech company aimed at curing disease of the brain. I'd like to thank, again, CCIE and AASCU for establishing the program that gave me the opportunity to come to the US and get to where I am now. I'd like to thank my parents for gambling their life savings on me to send me out here and believe in me. I also would like to thank the schools and mentors I had in Henan University in China, and all the mentors I had in Humboldt State University, Stanford University, Cornell Medical School, and Rockefeller University. It was a treacherous journey, but along the way, we were showered with help from everyone, and we have gone from one end of the world to the other. The world still has a lot of problems and ways to be solved. To name a few, A pandemic is still going on. The income gaps are only growing larger. And our global climate is on the edge of collapsing. People are still dying of hunger, disease, and violence every day. Completing the one-to-one program is just the beginning. Me and other students of the CCIEE one-to-one program will be dedicating our lives, serving as bridges to bring the world together to solve those problems. Thank you very much, and have a great day.